Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras, in the state better known as California. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
That's right. My name is Mike Piroworski. I am your co-host, the co-host from the East Coast. That's the coast with the most, from the co-host with the most. Here on the Rundown 2A Views, Conservative News. Craig, how's your hump day?
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
It's hump day.
Hump day!
It's hump day.
Hump day!
My hump day is going quite well, sir. By the way, for those of you who are new to the program, Hump Day is the day in which we attempt to begin the weekend. So, because the week tends to go all downhill from here. Sometimes we are successful and sometimes we are not. But the fun, as I always like to say, is in the trying.
That's right. In the trying. I first off, Craig, I apologize to everybody out there in viewer and listener land for missing Taco Tuesday with you. Listen, I got to my favorite taco truck and lunch, and I stayed till midnight. I just couldn't get it. I couldn't break it.
I have to admit, though, I was very disappointed that I didn't see any. Because what I did was I said, since I don't get a chance to talk about tacos today, I said, I want you guys to do me a favor. If you have a favorite taco that you like, and I'm not talking about just the regular, street tacos or anything like that. If you got a special recipe or something like that, I asked them, put it in the comments. Put a link in the comments, and we'll give it a try, and we'll let you know what we think of your taco recipe. And I didn't get any taco recipes, Mike. Maybe if you asked, maybe they would do it for you.
I understand that, but I'm not sure I want to ask. I don't want to be, I don't want no frou-frou, mango blueberry chutney tacos or anything like that. I just want a taco. I want it,
Mango blueberry chutney tacos.
Well, that's what you're going to get. I mean, especially out of California, right? That's kind of taco recipe.
Well,
out there,
okay. So, but look, we here we're talking to Americans here. Okay, these are gun-loving, conservative. I mean, these are not foo-foo, shishi. I mean, those are not the people who watch this show. If you are the people who are watching this show, well, we'll find out real quick once we get your taco recipes.
Listen, you know me, Craig. I am meat, cilantro and onion and maybe a little hot sauce. That's it. I don't need to be going off into frou-frou land. You know me. I'm the kind of guy that eats a banana with a fork and knife. So.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, there you go. Okay. How's your hump day going?
Oh man, I tell you what. Again, I had work yesterday, and it kind of kept me away from the program. But I'm sore from doing CrossFit all day. Except I didn't do any CrossFit, so I'm not sure what's going on. But
it's called getting older, Mike. It happens.
Oh man, it's popping and pulling, and just.
I will tell you, I used to make fun of the guys who used to be like, oh, yeah, when the weather would change and they would be like, oh, yeah, it's going to rain. I can feel it in my knees. Now I'm that guy.
Yeah. I get that a lot with the weather. But, got to drive on. Get you a little, Miller High Life, and you'll be good to go.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Well, before we get into the program, let's go ahead and go. That was easy for me to say, wasn't it? Let's go ahead and give a quick shout out to our sponsors.
All right, let's say hello to our good friends over at Hog Holsters. First off, HAWGholsters.com, Hog Holsters. And now, if you want the best holster around, go ahead and check them out and enter the code The Rundown, all one word, all caps. The Rundown, get you a nice discount. Go get you some holsters. I want to impress John, who's a fellow veteran and owner operator there. That what the Rundown fans can do. So check out Hog Holsters and get you one today. Of course, we have our good friends over at Hitman Industries. That's hitmanindustries.net. Hitmanindustries.net. You got yourself an AR in the last 5 years or so. You probably got one of their barrels and don't even know it. Well, now you could buy direct. Get your barrel for your next build or rebarrel your current rifle. That's hitmanindustries.net. We have our good friends over at the California Republican Assembly. Listen, the work they just did for you out there in California. Make sure you support them so they continue to try and bring conservatism back there to the state of California. And then, of course, if you want some awesome field gear, tactical gear, web gear, go visit, again, veteran-owned and operated, uscombatgear.com.
That's right, folks. These are the people who bring us to you, and they do so because they want us to bring you to them. So do us a favor, make us look good. Visit their websites. They're in the link. Their links to their websites are in the description to this program. Go there, check it out. I know you're gonna like something. I know you're gonna want something. It's Christmas season, right? Go ahead and tell folks, look, buy yourself a gift, right? Connect with them, and then make sure you tell them that was the guys over at the Rundown that sent you.
Yeah. The point of order. So sure, though, Christmas season starts in about 9 days. So other than that,
Well, it all depends. In retail, it actually started like October 1st. You walk into like the Home Depots and whatnot, and they already had their Christmas stuff out like October 1st. I'm like, wait a minute, we haven't even had Halloween yet, and you've already got your Christmas stuff out?
Yeah, that's right. And every time I go to a retail place and they got Christmas stores up, I pull out an asp and I kneecap them like they were Nancy Kerrigan.
Well, there you go. There you go. I'm sure there's probably some felony warrants out there with your name on them.
No, we have a law in Florida: no Christmas before, the Thanksgiving evening. That's it. That's no Christmas before it.
Okay, well, that's a law that I could get behind.
Yeah.
Just so
we have a lot of weird laws like that in Florida too. Like if you go on an amusement park ride, it must exit through a gift shop. That's also a law here in Florida. Yeah.
Florida man. That's all I got to say.
Yep.
All right, moving right along. I don't know if you were watching last night, but there was an announcement that normally in most other cases would be considered a really, really big announcement. But with the change in election and stuff like that, it just didn't seem to have quite the same luster. And that was the announcement by Donald Trump that he is running for president. From all indications, what I've heard about the speech, and I have to admit that I have not heard the speech yet. I heard it was an excellent speech. I heard that he did very, very well in terms of staying on script, laying out his accomplishments, and talking about what he wants to do should he be reelected to the presidency. From all indications, it is a good start to what will be or could potentially be a very contentious campaign for president.
Craig, I don't think it received the like you said the publicity that it probably deserved because any Donald Trump supporter out there knew he was running again. So there wasn't that surprise to it. It was just one of those, okay, he finally made it public.
Well, not so much that I think they expected it was a surprise that he would do the announcement. I think that it's more of a, how do I want to put this? Before the election, there didn't seem to be a lot of chinks in his armor. And I think now there are some chinks in his armor. And I don't even believe that the midterm elections were in fact the things that caused it. I think that his pre-announcement attacks on some conservatives, on some Republicans, I think just had people wondering, what is going on with Donald Trump and wondering whether or not he could have the sort of discipline that I believe he displayed last night. I just think that showing those chinks in his armor wasn't a good look. But once again, he's a successful businessman. He's been a successful president, and I think he can demonstrate that he can get it done.
Yeah, I think you're mostly right there. Although I don't think you're supposed to use the word chinks anymore.
Yeah, no, I see you're putting a connotation on the word that that's not what I'm talking about. Sorry.
Right. China.
I'm sorry. A little correction from our director of racial sensitivity and training.
We prefer kinks in the armor, Craig. Let's just go after an English band instead of a whole race of.
You are 100% correct.
Yep.
Oops. And look, as someone who doesn't wear much armor,
Yeah, right.
I think I can get it wrong, just once.
Yeah.
I get a chance to make up one word a day.
Let's just try not to offend 1.6 billion people. That's all.
My apologies. Wasn't what I meant, but there you go.
Gotcha.
Anyway, I think it's going to be interesting. I definitely believe that whoever the people are who are considering running, look, here's the deal, folks. I'm just going to be real with you. There's a bunch of people out there who are second and third tier candidates that were considering running this time. Y'all are done. You're just, I'm sorry, the Nikki Haley's, the Tim Scotts, who is the Secretary of State, Pompeo, Pence, you guys are done. Just so you know, right now there are two men on the stage that are being considered. And that's Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump. And do not be surprised if the two wind up running together.
Yeah, like we've talked about before, and I think Ron DeSantis is intelligent enough and has enough insight to recognize that he doesn't want to enter that battle. Even if Trump says things he shouldn't say, I think DeSantis is smart enough to realize, his time is after that. Or like you said, it may be a joint ticket, but if he goes into the primary with Donald Trump, that's just going to split the right side of the conservative party.
Well, and be honest with you, and it won't be because Ron DeSantis says. It's quite frankly, it's going to largely be because Donald Trump will do whatever it takes to win, even if it means destroying the Republican Party in the process. I hate to say that, but that's my perspective of it is that's what he would do. And if you want what is best for the country, destroying the Republican Party ain't it.
Well, and we'll talk about it in the next story. That sounds like a bad thing, destroy the Republican Party, but the Republican Party is not what we want it to be, nor is it what it used to be. So may not be a bad thing, and I think that's the way Donald Trump goes about it.
Once again, and here's where I'll disagree with you.
Point of order, me talking. Point of order.
Go ahead.
The Republican Party is not what it used to be, and he's fighting for conservative values, not the Republican Party. And I think that's the difference. So he doesn't have a problem throwing people under the bus that vote against conservative values, no matter what the letter next to their name is.
And I would agree wholeheartedly with you if that was all he was doing. But when you start basically name calling, I mean, Ron DeSantis is not one of those guys you were just talking about. Glenn Youngkin is not one of those guys you were just talking about. And yet once again, in his pre-campaign announcements, he recognizes that these are two people who could be challenges to him. And so his desire was to tear them down on stuff that quite frankly with misinformation, quite frankly. And my issue is that he will, my concern is that he will continue to do that with people who are actually good, solid Republicans or good, solid conservatives. And because once again, his number one desire is to win. And I know that if he wins, I know that he's going to do what's right for America. But the problem is that if he doesn't win, he could wind up hobbling whoever the nominee is going into the general election. And I don't think that's a good look.
And then, like when we talked about Youngkin and DeSantis last week, his comments against him, and when you take the time and you actually go through and read them, you realize they're not as horrible as the media makes him out to be. If Donald Trump goes out and says he likes steak and potatoes, the headlines is going to say racist Donald Trump doesn't like Hispanic food. That's what it's going to say. That's just the way it is with him, and I think a lot of what he says gets construed that way.
Yeah. Well, I read the direct comments, and that's how I construed. You're right. They weren't as negative as the media portrayed them to be, but once again, it is important. It's not just important what you say, but it's important how you say it. And I think that's if there is one issue that if Donald Trump could fix, it would make him 100% unbeatable. And on issues as well as a candidate, it's his understanding of being more cognizant of how he says things.
Yeah, true. But again, the media will. I mean, if he comes out and says, "I love America," the headline's going to say, "Donald Trump hates Europe." That's what it's going to say. It's just that's the way that they're going to put everything forth that this guy says.
Right, but you don't have to make it easy for him, and he tends to at times make it easy for them to do that.
Right. Yeah.
On that note, it's going to be fun. Big announcement. I think that once again, when we look at the top two tier candidates, and I still will continue to say right now there's two serious candidates on the stage. I don't think we can lose with either one. I'm hoping that they team up.
Right. Again, my concern is that if they both enter, they tear the party in half. I spoke with a black or African American woman conservative yesterday, actually, and we had this conversation with DeSantis and Trump. Now she was an avid Trump supporter, was on Trump's campaign, but now she's on the DeSantis team, and does not want to see. She said, "I won't vote for Donald Trump again." I said, "Well, what if DeSantis doesn't run?" She said, "I won't vote for Donald Trump. I would vote for DeSantis." I said, "Well, DeSantis is not going to run." She said, I don't know. I mean, she's not giving up her conservative vote, but there are people out there that are dissatisfied with Trump. But I think this is his opportunity over the next 2 years to fix the mean tweet image. How about that?
Well, exactly. There you go. And I think he has the ability to do it. And I think he's started off his campaign with that on a good note. Definitely on a good note. So I'm excited, looking forward to seeing more.
The last 2 years, he's given up the mean tweet image. We just got to hope it continues that.
Well, he didn't have the ability to tweet. He kind of had the mean tweet image taken away.
Yeah.
That's okay. Elon's got him, though. Elon's got him.
Yep.
All right, moving on to our next story. That's not the only thing whether we're looking to see a challenge. And right now in the Senate, it is looking like Senator Mitch McConnell, who is the if reelected as the leader of the Senate Republicans, will be the longest serving party leader in history. But it's not going to go without a challenge, as Florida Senator and former Governor Rick Scott is going to be challenging him for the leadership of the Senate. Now, the interesting thing is that you saw in the announcement, if you read the announcement letter, he didn't make a big challenge based on. I mean, he did a good job of not bad mouthing Senator Mitch McConnell, but he definitely gave a tone of, do we really want things to continue as they are? Now, Mike, seeing as how he is your senator there in Florida, you know him better than many of us. What are your thoughts on Rick Scott, and in particular, Rick Scott as the Senate Majority Leader, Senate Minority Leader?
Right. First off, Craig, I know that they say he's the longest serving, senator or Republican Party leader. How about that? Longest serving party leader. I'm surprised that the Democrats forgot about Stalin. Remember, because they say we're all communist and fascist anyway. So I'm surprised they didn't lump him in there as well. As far as Scott goes, listen, I love the letter that Rick Scott put out. It clearly identified, and you and I've talked about this, and we just talked about it with President Trump. He identified his goals, he identified his plans, and put them out. And he cites in there that the biggest reason he's doing this is because the Republican Party lacks a clear plan and guidelines and a mission statement to move forward. He's doing this. I think even those that are McConnell supporters are going to look at that and say, we got a plan. Hold on, this guy's giving us an outline of what we're going to do. I mean, how unique, what a new idea for DC to bring that to the Senate there, or bring that to politics in general, that there's an actual plan, as opposed to, I don't like what this other person does. He's telling you what he's going to do. The only concern I have with Rick Scott is Rick Scott was willing to sacrifice Second Amendment rights here in Florida for the purpose of media support when he was running for senator. However, we know that Mitch McConnell is no fan or no supporter of the Second Amendment as well. So it comes down to me: is Rick Scott the 100% perfect candidate for this job? No, but that's when I fall back on my 80% rule. Do I agree with this guy 80% of the time? Absolutely, and he's better than the guy that he's standing next to. So Rick Scott will get my support.
Well, I got to tell you, I think that's an accurate assessment. Mike, I have serious concerns over his position on the Second Amendment and his willingness to serve it up in order to gain politically. That's my biggest concern with him. But then again, Mitch McConnell is not really any better.
Right. And if we go to Rick Scott now because it was not in there, but he said conservative values. So conservative values
Right.
include Second Amendment. He didn't
Mhm.
spell out everything. Listen, he didn't talk about abortion in there. He didn't talk about a number of other issues that were left off. He didn't talk about crime or anything like that in there, or prison reform. But he said conservative values. I want to believe that includes the Second Amendment, and I want to believe, based on what he said here, when he's pressed for a Second Amendment plan, he'll have one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I want to believe. The one challenge I have is when it comes to the issue of gun violence restraining orders, or red flag laws, as other places refer to them. Is he seems to have fallen into the trap that many on the right have fallen into, in terms of believing, well, it's, it just makes sense to take guns out of the hands of dangerous people. The problem is that he's so willing to overlook liberty, the rights of those individuals. Once again, it's that law and order versus liberty, and he's on the wrong side of that issue. And makes you wonder, if he's on the wrong side of it when it comes to guns, where else is he on the wrong side of it? Once again, same thing. I still would pick him over McConnell, because in this particular case, they're two peas in a pod. The one thing I will say about McConnell is he has demonstrated the ability to raise money, and which, by the way, is probably the number one thing that's in consideration when being the leader of a party in a legislative body.
Yeah, true. And listen, I think one of Rick Scott's flaws, but it's the nature of the game. In order to get into the politic business, in order to get into the Senate, he made some deals and did some things he's not too proud of. But now that he's there, again, he's come out with this mission statement, this letter saying, these are my goals. And those goals did not include, selling out Second Amendment rights in order to get elected. So I would think that he would correct that, or at least move forward on the right path.
I really hope he does. We shall see.
Yeah, we shall see. We shall see. But, when given, what was the choice in South Park? Remember when they had their election? They were trying to elect the class president, and this was back in the Bush Gore days, right? The choices were a giant turd and a douche sandwich, or something like that. A turd sandwich and a giant douche. That's what it was. So you had to pick the worst of the two, or the least worst of the two. I think we're much better off than that, and Rick Scott is the better choice based on what he's saying.
Completely agree. Now, the Republicans are not the only ones that are considering a change in leadership, or looking at a change in leadership. And I don't know that saying that Democrats are considering it is entirely accurate, but according to Senate tradition, Dianne Feinstein will be the oldest and will be the longest serving member of the Senate, and as such, she is in line to serve as Senate President pro tempore, or basically pro tem, for the Senate. Now, mind you, she's already turned down this job. She's already said that she doesn't want to do this job. But as senile as she has demonstrated herself to be lately, Mike, she may not even remember that she's already turned down the job, and may wind up wanting to take it.
Listen, no doubt she's the longest serving senator, but the author here, Brian Metzger, should probably glance at the Constitution every once in a while, because the third in line to the presidency is the Speaker of the House, not the Senate pro tem.
Oh yeah, no, most definitely. I meant to say that. Yeah, what is interesting about this particular article, one, is that, but two, there's just not really enough of a mention of, once again, the concerns that people have had over her competency. The reality is, she probably should not be serving in the Senate anymore. She has demonstrated some Biden-like tendencies, although she tends not to say stupid things as often. Her words tend to be a lot more measured, and I don't know if that's a function of better staffing, or if it's a matter of she's maybe just got a little bit more up there than Biden does at this point.
I've seen her on committees. I've seen her up there when she's asked a question. She'll give an answer. She'll say no, and then the staff whispers in her ear, and she says, "Wait, I mean yes. We did this last month." She's clearly not in charge of her own policies. She's clearly not in charge of putting out statements. She is the product of her handlers right now that the DNC provides her with.
Right. Well, and the thing with Dianne Feinstein, she is, or at least at one point, she was the definition of in many cases on some issues, in particular on foreign relations, was the definition of a moderate Democrat, and now she's just controlled by the woke left just as much as any of the other lefties. And then once again, that's largely because, as you said, her staff is running her agenda, not necessarily her.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. Right. Yep. And I believe she actually has served longer than Stalin. So.
Oh, that is hilarious. Okay, moving right along. We all know that gun-free zones are targets for people who wish to victimize people. For people who are trying to victimize others, they look for soft targets. They look for places where they are going to meet very little resistance. And our good friend over at Bearing Arms, Mr. Cam Edwards, actually wrote a piece about a robber. This was a guy who was an armed robber. He's a Chicago man that admitted to multiple robberies in the city's gun-free transit system. Now, once again, this is a guy who targeted his victims. He targeted the locations based on the idea that concealed carry is prohibited in public transportation in Chicago. Mike, I realize that this is not news in the sense of, oh my gosh, I didn't know this was happening. But it is news in that it confirms what we already know to be true. What we know to be true, maybe not the left.
Basic combat tactics, my friends. Basic combat tactics. If you want to engage the enemy and assure victory, go to where they are not going to win. Go to where they cannot defend themselves. Go to where they cannot protect themselves, and you can accomplish your mission. That's what this guy's doing, and the government there is making it easy for him to do.
Really not hard. There's a reason why 97 or 98% of all mass shootings occur in gun-free zones. There's a reason why, despite the evil they say that occurs at gun shows, you don't see shootings at gun shows. It's because, once again, even crazy people, right? Even people who are mentally ill and they're a danger to themselves or others know and understand. Yeah, if I go someplace where there are people likely to be armed, it's going to be bad for me. So I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, absolutely right. And this guy has taken full advantage of it. Listen, in addition to the victims being weak, right? He's doing it in a town where the punishment against the criminals that do that are weak. Where they're not going to take action against him. He could be back out the next day executing his basic combat tactics against these innocent people.
Funny how that works, isn't it?
Yep. Weird, huh? It's so weird.
That's weird stuff right there. Okay, we're going to move on to our parting shots today. This first one, I got to wonder if this is an actual Elon Musk tweet, or are people now just writing funny things and putting it there on giving credit to Elon Musk for it? But this one I found to be hilarious. Elon Musk on implementing Tesla technology, or Dominion technology with Tesla. He says here, I'm going to buy Dominion next and incorporate that technology to Tesla. I can make 100 cars a day and 60 more will show up overnight.
Now, folks, remember, Dominion is the voting machines, right? So what he's saying is that you can vote 100, get 100 votes out of that machine, and then overnight 60 more will appear. Now, let's clarify also that this is a parody tweet. This never really showed up on Twitter. This is not really Elon Musk. This is humor. Okay, we're not putting this out there as actual news.
No, it is not news. Those of you on YouTube, you YouTube folks, we're not reporting news. We're just reporting a joke.
Yes.
Ha ha. Very funny.
Ha ha. Ho ho. Hee hee.
All right. Moving right along. Oh God, I could not think of a more accurate message than this. And you want to describe this one for folks?
It's got the monster named Fetterman there walking along in his hoodie and shorts in the snow, and he's got some kind of is that a choker on underneath there? He's got a turtleneck T-shirt. I have no idea what he's going on there. Is that a dickie maybe? Trying to cover the little Fetterman that's hanging out behind him on his neck and his shoulder. and it says, "Pretty sure this dude drank the water at Camp Lejeune."
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I have no. In fact, I have no doubt that he drank the water at Camp Lejeune. For those of you who have not seen the commercials,
Yeah.
if you haven't seen the commercials, then you have not been watching television.
Yeah, if you've seen us, you've seen the commercials. Let's
Yes.
just say that. There's no way. The only way you could avoid the commercials if you live in the Unabomber's cabin. That's about it. You know.
That's pretty much about it. And if that's the case, then you're not watching us right now.
That's right. Yep. Yep.
All right, we got one last one, and this one I like this one because I actually hate the self-checkout things at Walmart. But on Thanksgiving Day, Walmart will be closing so that the self-checkout cashiers can be with their families.
I like you detest the self checkouts. There's a grocery store chain here in Florida that is actually open till 11 instead of the usual 9 or 10 o'clock. But after 9, they go to self checkout only. They shut down the other lanes. And I'm the guy that goes there and gets half a grocery cart full of stuff and goes to the customer service counter and makes them ring me up.
Oh.
Like, you're like, the self checkouts are open, and I'm like, well, last I checked, I didn't work here, so bring this up, all right?
I know. Well, they make you not only do you have to check out, but you have to bag your own groceries, and you have to make your own change.
Yeah. Now listen, I did the bag boy thing in high school, like all of us did, but that part of my career is over with. I'm not doing that anymore. Okay. It's just,
well, so here's the thing that sucks about self checkout in California. You cannot purchase alcohol through self checkout because there's no way to ID you. So if you can have it's frustrating because if you have an entire thing full of stuff and you wanted to go through checkout, or maybe you have one or two things, if anything is alcohol, if you got a beer, anything, add beer, nope, got to go through the regular one. So it can be a pain in the butt.
In our state, you've got like one actual checker standing there watching for checkout lanes, and if you purchase an alcohol item, they have to come over and verify ID and enter some kind of.
Which is why I don't understand why they don't do that in California, but they don't allow you to do it in California. And by the way, that was something that was offered when the legislation was going through, right. And the idiots in the legislature decided, nah. Once again, idiots run the California legislature, just so you know. And if you want to question whether or not they're actual idiots, they're all liberal Democrats. That pretty much confirms it.
Yep. There you go.
Okay, on that note, let's go ahead, and it's about time for us to be able to get ready to go. But before we do, we want to give one more quick shout out to our sponsors.
That's it. And let's hit it up again. Hawg Holsters, HAWG Holsters. That's helping Americans wear guns, get the best holsters you can get, best tactical, concealable holsters you can get from hogholsters.com. And make sure you use the discount code, The Rundown, all one word, no spacing, all caps, The Rundown, and get you a nice little discount there. Order some up. Come on, I want to see. Listen, if you go on there and you order some up, and when we get the report back there from Big John over at Hawg Holsters, we got something else for you too. We'll send you some goodies. How about that? And then let's see, we got Hitman Industries. That's hitmanindustries.net, hitmanindustries.net. They've got all the rifle and caliber pistols and barrels and rifle length, everything that you can use for your AR build. The California Republican Assembly, fighting a good fight behind enemy lines. Make sure you lend them some of your support. And then, of course, you want those awesome field gear, combat gear, tactical gear. Go to uscombatgear.com.
Folks, once again, these are our sponsors. These are the folks that bring us to you. Please visit them. Follow links to their websites in the description to this program. Make sure to tell them that the guys over at The Rundown sent you. And with that, it's a wrap for today. We appreciate you guys tuning in. We appreciate you liking and sharing the program and encouraging your friends to do the same. We will be back tomorrow on Thirsty Thursday. Hope to see you then.